Just a few years ago, the Dolphins had their franchise QB under contract, rostered the best receiver in the NFL, and looked like the most explosive team in the league. But it never translated into playoff wins. So now comes a reset. How will they handle it? Welcome back here to 32 on 32, where we're previewing every single NFL team season with a fan, creator, or reporter. And today, to preview the Miami Dolphins season, we are joined by Tyler Terabacchia himself.
Yeah.
Tyler, how are you, man?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Chase. I'm excited to talk about my Dolphins' huge season incoming. Can't wait.
For sure. I've been loving all the content over on your page. Been seeing it for years, back to when Tua and the Dolphins were really going to now. So we really appreciate you taking the time here to preview the season. Let's not waste any time. Let's touch on last year real quick. It really felt like a show up or shut up year for the entire team. For Tua, for Mike McDaniel. The opening blowout to the Colts just really sparked a rough start. They made a late push at a playoff spot, but that eventually stalled out. They started Quinn Ewers in the final games of the season. Tua didn't look great. Tyreek got hurt. What do you make of what happened last year that really closed the book or on the final chapter of the McDaniel and Tua era?
Yeah, so I just feel like when it came to McDaniel, he just basically allowed his players to do whatever they wanted. Like, players were showing up to meetings late that I've heard. Tyreek Hill was showing up to practice late. Basically, he wasn't hard on the players. He was more of a player-friendly coach. So kind of the players weren't taking the season seriously. Plus, with Tua consistently dealing with injuries, one of our playoff runs, we had Skylar Thompson playing,
right,
if you remember that, which was surprisingly a close game with the Bills. Yeah. But it's just the constant change at quarterback, McDaniel not being hard on the players, not holding them accountable for if they show up late to the meetings, like I said. And just stuff like that, just very small things that ultimately built up for the ultimate downfall for Mike McDaniel.
Overall, ton of offseason moves. What do you think of the next chapter of Dolphins football that they're creating here this offseason?
Well, honestly, I'm excited. I mean, we've had a lot of changes, obviously. Malik Willis coming in showed some promise over there in Green Bay, so I'm excited to see how Malik Willis works out. Showed some promise in that first preseason game. Even though he only played one drive, I mean, he still led us down the field 94 yards. So that was very impressive by him. And then I forgot how many rookies we drafted total, but I think it was in the double digits, I believe. So we've got a lot of rookies coming in on our team. Like you mentioned, some of the players, Caleb Douglas, Chris Bell. Chris Bell is finally back. He's now practicing after coming off of that torn ACL. Caden Proctor been looking pretty good, so that's going to help rejuvenate that offensive line and help protect Malik Willis. You may or may not have saw Jeff Hafley said he's going to give Achane 40 carries a game. Now, not sure if he's actually going to reach that number, but I could see 25 touches. Could definitely see that out of Achane.
For sure. We're going to get to Devin Achane here. It really feels like he is the anchor and the centerpiece of that offense for sure. But that brings us here to our three storylines for the Miami Dolphins ahead of the season. The first of which, what will Malik Willis look like? Because he's really one of the wild cards of the entire NFL, this coming season. He fell undrafted a few years ago, didn't show enough in Tennessee to keep the job, but then has since done really, really well as a backup in Green Bay. He's getting another chance here as a starter. Is he going to flourish or is he going to struggle like he did in Tennessee?
No, I think you're going to get a little bit of both out of Malik Willis. I think you're going to see times where he is struggling. I mean, we also do have a very young team around him. I mean, two of his top wide receivers are rookies.
Right.
But I think you're going to see flashes out of Malik Willis this year. You're going to see some plays where you're like, damn, this guy's a good quarterback. I don't think he's just going to completely suck like he did in Tennessee. I think we're going to see a little bit of both this upcoming year. And I've been telling people to draft Malik Willis in fantasy. I mean, you can get him in the later rounds, get him as a backup quarterback.
Yep.
With that rushing ability, you're going to see a lot of read option between him and Achane. And really, it's going to be the first time us Dolphin fans are going to have a quarterback like Malik Willis. We never had a guy like him who's very similar to a guy that you have over there in Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, who's able to use his legs to make plays. So that's going to be fun to see out of Malik Willis. But I think a little bit of both at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, he plays so well with Green Bay, but just not a large enough sample size. He's played, 4 or 5 years in the league. He has 6 total starts. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how he does here. He's been given that chance with Miami. He was the top QB on the market, and now he has that opportunity to prove himself again. Our second storyline is Jeff Hafley the long-term answer. Look, I don't think Miami, because they are entering a rebuild, was one of the top jobs on the market. So landing Jesse Minter or Clint Kubiak or John Harbaugh, some of the more highly touted names on the market that maybe didn't seem as realistic. But I'm still wondering if Hafley is the answer. He's had his inconsistencies with Green Bay, especially when Micah Parsons went down last year. That defense did regress. For a rebuilding defensive unit, do you think Jeff Hafley is going to be the face and the centerpiece that they need to turn this team around?
Stephen Ross decided that we were going to do a full reset this time. And now we brought in both John Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley, same offseason. They align, have the same vision. They both wanted Malik Willis. They got their guy. Obviously, if Malik doesn't work out, they're going to have an opportunity to draft their own quarterback. That's how I would do it if I was the owner.
Right.
But Jeff Hafley, we'll see how the defense pans out. We still have a lot of young guys over there. I mean, we do have leaders in the room like Jonathan Brooks and Chop Robinson. Hopefully he could take that next step in his career. We've been waiting for that these past 2 seasons. So we're gonna have to wait and see. He's gonna have over, I think, $80 million next year as well to work with in free agency. So we're just going to see like bits and pieces of what he can do this year, and then he's going to be able to build upon that going into the next offseason, obviously, because we'll have a lot more cap space since we won't be paying guys like Tua and Tyreek. I think we're still paying Jalen Ramsey money too. So basically, I'm pretty sure half our cap space is going towards players that are not on the team right now.
Yep. As it happens, I mean, they kind of went all in on that era, and unfortunately, it didn't work out. But now, again, you're building the pieces and laying the foundation for that next era. My final storyline here, we mentioned it earlier. What is the future for Devon Achane here in Miami? He's on a bargain contract for me, considering what Jahmyr Gibbs got and what Bijan Robinson just got in their recent contracts. I view him as a top 5, maybe even top 3 running back in the NFL. I think he's unbelievable in the passing game, but also so efficient and explosive in the rushing game. But with an unproven commodity at quarterback and little to no proven weapons around him, it feels like defenses are just going to key in on him, which in turn is going to make him struggle. Do you think there's a chance they sell off him at the deadline and try to sell the value high? What is the future for Achane in this offense alongside this group?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't see him being traded at the deadline because they actually did just give him a new contract extension this offseason. And he was the first one to get paid before both Gibbs and Bijan. And when I was looking at their contracts compared to what Achane got, I'm like, wow, we got Achane for a steal. I'm like, who agreed to this contract? $16 million per year, while the other guys are getting, 21, 22?
25, I think, even, yeah.
Crazy. It's crazy, the running back market now. But Achane got paid right before those guys got paid. So the market was the market. It was what it was. And we just got, a great steal out of Achane. Plus, he gets to stay here in Miami, the warm weather. But if the team doesn't perform within the next 2 to 3 years, I could definitely see him requesting a trade out of there and wanting to go play somewhere where he can win. But for right now, I don't think we're going to see Achane getting traded off, no matter if we have 1 win, 2 wins, 10 wins. It doesn't matter. I think Achane's here to stay just because he just signed that new contract extension, which I believe was 4 years, actually. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure he took that less amount because he signed a 4-year deal instead of a 3-year deal like those other guys.
Let's move on here. A Dolphins schedule. I make my own little projection, if you will, here coming up for the Miami Dolphins. This is their schedule. I have a 3-14 record for the Dolphins.
Oh, obviously, what the hell, Chase? What is this?
And they actually have, according to projections and based off last year's results, the second hardest schedule in the league. What do you think overall of the schedule and the results that I have?
Okay, well, I do agree with beating the Jets. That's definitely going to happen. We're going to beat the Jets twice. It don't matter how bad we are. The Jets are still the Jets at the end of the day. Raiders, I agree with. They're still a new team as well. We can beat Kirk Cousins. Listen, you already know half the 49ers roster is already injured, so we're going to be playing a 50% 49ers squad. The substation has already taken out half that team. Mahomes still won't be able to move by then. He's still recovering from his torn ACL. I don't care about the clips I've seen online. Vikings, they'll probably have like 9 starting at that point. Joe Burrow, I expect him to be injured by week 5. He won't be playing. Be Joe Flacco. Patriots, they're regressing. We'll beat them twice. Lions, I could see us losing to the Lions. I'll be honest. Colts, I'm surprised you have us beating the Colts.
I want to pick some upsets there. I feel like the Colts lose some random games every now and then. I don't know, but I feel like it's just tough because it's an unproven core with one of the hardest schedules in the league. It just feels unattainable to see anything more than like 5 or 6 wins.
I understand why people see us coming in last place, ending up with like the number 1 or number 2 pick, but I'm telling you, Malik Willis, I think he's going to shock a lot of people this upcoming season. I don't think people are ready for what the Dolphins are about to bring to the table.
No, I agree. And honestly, I am pretty excited to see what he can provide. And honestly, if Willis is great and they still win 3 games, that's not a terrible scenario. If you feel like Willis could be the guy and then you go and get Jeremiah Smith or whoever the top skill position player is one of the top picks in the draft. So at least set yourself up great long term. I don't think winning 6 games really helps you. I'd rather win 3 games and have some clarity either way. So I do think it'll be an interesting year, and a lot of questions will be answered here for the Miami Dolphins. My final thoughts here for the Miami Dolphins. Look, Miami is not going to be a playoff team. The standard and the expectation is not to be a playoff team, but it is to compete. It is to find clarity, and it is to see if Malik Willis can prove himself at the quarterback position, if Jeff Hafley could prove that he is a long-term answer to anchor the defense and anchor this next chapter of Dolphins football. And if those boxes are checked, then Miami should feel confident as it progresses in its rebuild over the next few years.
Listen, guys, don't listen to what Chase just said. The Dolphins will be fighting for a playoff spot this year. I believe in this team. It may be a rough start at the beginning, but I feel like the guys are going to come towards the second half of the season and get it going. Malik Willis, I guarantee you, will be in the MVP conversation. I believe in what I've seen out of Malik Willis so far. Him, Achane, all the rookie wide receivers that we have around him. It's going to be an exciting year of Dolphins football. The Dolphins are coming. The Bills, Patriots, and Jets are not ready for us. We're coming for that AFC East title this year.
Love the optimism there, Tyler. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.